Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Corrie and I am joining you fresh-faced and fresh-haired here to test out some henna for dyeing your hair from Lush. I'm getting married in about 2 weeks. I've been growing out this beautiful gray streak for, I don't know, like 6 months now. But I'm thinking for the wedding, I want to get rid of these hair around the temples, and I'm not too sure how, especially using henna, how easy it will be for me to like avoid getting hair dye on this section. So I think I'm fully committed to just covering it all up. But I think this would be a really great test to see how well henna does at permanently covering up this big gray patch. If it's a different color than the rest of my hair, how light is it compared to the rest of my hair, and so on and so forth. Usually around this area, around the front of my head, is where I permanently dye my hair to a dark brown so that I take care of my grays. And if you want to see how I do that using stuff that you can get at your local beauty supply store, check my video out here. I think it's a very economical, cheap, easy, not too high maintenance way to do your hair. So basically, we're going to experiment and see what goes down. This is not clean hair. This is probably day 3 for me. And the instructions didn't really say if you should have clean hair. They just said to have dry hair. So I'm just going to go for it like this. So let's take a look at this henna. This is the Brun henna hair dye from Lush. It says it's a beautiful cocoa butter block for glossy chocolate brown locks. Henna and ground coffee are blended to impart rich color to the hair and improve its condition. And it's 325 grams. It retails for $27.95, which seems really expensive, especially compared to the hair dyeing chemicals you can get at Sally Beauty Supply, which are so cheap to do yourself. They say for really long hair, if you're doing the whole thing, you'll want to use this whole block. For shoulder length and smaller, you could get away using half the block. And I think today, because the block, we'll see in a second, is divided into 6, I'm only going to use 2 blocks and see if that's enough to just do this area in front of my face and see how well that blends in. So this product is made in Canada. Lush, of course, is a Canadian company. It's vegan. They're fighting animal testing. And here's a look at the ingredients. It's also self-preserving, and the instructions are in the inside, and they also have an article on their website. I actually bought this last year, so it was made on 2019-06-10. I just finally got brave enough to start using it, and it lasts a good amount of time. It lasts more than a full year, so mine is to be used before 2020-08-09. And I think the biggest reason why people choose to use henna hair dye is because it is a natural product and hopefully a lot less harmful than the chemicals you get at Sally Beauty Supply. So here's what the brick looks like. It looks pretty cool, and it smells actually really nice. It smells kind of spicy and sweet. I really like the smell. You can see it's roughly divided into 6 squares, and you just like cut them out. And I'm leaving fingerprints on my bar. All the bars kind of have this same color of henna bar, but they do make a bunch of different colors. The bar is a little bit crumbly. It does come in that paper bag, and I also had it wrapped in a airtight, just like Ziploc bag for storage. This is not going to be a review video. This is going to be a watch me try it video. We'll see how well it covers up this gray streak, if it's much lighter than the rest of it, if it successfully covers it all that kind of stuff, and of course if it blends in with the rest of my hair. Also, we'll see how much those 2 blocks actually make of dye, if that's enough. They will not lighten your hair, and if used on previously dyed hair, the resulting color will look different on the colored hair versus your natural hair. Of course, my hair at the bottom, it looks like faded. Personally, I don't really care if there's a big contrast in color, as long as it looks acceptably brown. And they do warn you that the color could take a full 24 hours to develop, so you really don't know what you're going to end up with until that full 24 hours afterwards. I'm going to jump over to the bathroom and we can get started applying henna to my hair. Here are the supplies that they say you will need for a successful application. Rubber gloves, which they do include 1 pair of rubber gloves, a heat-proof bowl, a saucepan, a mixing spoon, cling film, which they say is optional unless you're using red dye, then go ahead. But because henna needs oxygen to develop the color, they say if you have any other color other than red, maybe skip the cling film so your hair can breathe. You'll also need dark colored towels, newspaper to protect the floor, and clips to section the hair. So the first step is to lay newspapers down where you plan to do your application because things are going to get a little bit messy. Number 2, break your henna into a few large pieces in a heat-resistant bowl and add hot, nearly boiling water sparingly. Mix with your spoon until it's the consistency of melted chocolate, adding water as necessary. Place your bowl in a saucepan of simmering water to keep it warm while you apply. Ensure the henna is cool enough to comfortably touch the skin, then get started. Wearing your rubber gloves, apply the henna to your dry hair. Work in sections and apply from root to tip. Once it's on, you'll leave the henna on your hair for 2 to 4 hours, and they do say that indigo, which is present in maroon, brown, and noirs, requires oxygen to develop to its full, rich color, so be sure to expose your hair to the air during this time. 6. Wash the henna mixture from the hair using warm water and shampoo. It may take a couple of washes to completely remove the henna. Finish up with conditioner. Alright, so done with the hennaing. It was a little bit more difficult than I thought because prepping it wasn't too bad. It took a lot longer to melt and it took a lot more water than I thought it would. It took maybe 6 or 7 tablespoons of water, and I feel like I probably could have thinned it out even a little bit more because once you start applying it on your hair, it's really crumbly and like crumbs fall off of it, which is kind of weird. Whereas usually it's just like a liquid that drips. So I'm a little skeptical, I guess, that this won't just completely dry up instead of depositing color, just because it's such a different technique. But we're just gonna leave it now. I've just got it pinned up with some wood sticks on the back of my head, and I'm gonna give it 3 or 4 hours to cook here and then go rinse it off. So yeah, we'll see how I did. Alright guys, well, it has been 3 hours now since I applied it. It feels really hard and crunchy, and every time you touch it, things flake off, so gotta be careful. Hopefully my ears aren't totally stained. They might be. But yeah, I think it's now time for me to go and rinse it. Those 2 squares made so much. Like, I kind of just ended up putting it all over. So we'll see what happens and how it blends top to bottom. And is this a gray streak that I totally missed? We'll find out. I feel like if I did miss this, it would be pretty easy to just like chip a little bit off, mix it up, and just apply it to the one spot rather than applying it all over. I'm gonna go rinse it now. We'll see what that's like. Could take a couple shampoos to get everything out. And I'm gonna go till the water approximately turns clear. We'll see. I'll check in right before bed after plopping for a while so we can kind of get an initial look, and then we'll check in at 24 hours after to see once the color is fully developed, because they do say it does take up to 24 hours to fully develop. So here I go. Wish me luck. Hopefully this all turned out. Hopefully I didn't miss any spots. I feel like it was really hard to divide my hair up during the application, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're a little like splotchy and crazy, but all we can do is go and check it out and see what happened. So here we go. I just got out of the shower and things are looking promising. I don't see any gray. So I think the gray is covered. Now it'll just be a matter of checking if my hair is all going to be one color, if it's going to be a little patchy and weird. I did 3 shampoos to get it all out, and I don't think I really needed that last shampoo, but I wanted to make sure there was nothing left in my hair, and it was kind of like crusty old tea, I think is the best way to say it, rinsing out of your hair. So the water was like incredibly green, and there's all these like little tea grains coming out into the water. So I shampooed 3 times, I conditioned. Now I'm going to do a plop with just a leave-in treatment, and yeah, I'll check back in a few hours when it's a little bit drier so that we can take a better look at what actually is going on here. But so far so good, and my ears don't look especially stained, which is good. Maybe, oh, they do need to clean though. Oh god, that's sick. That's one thing, if you share an apartment with anybody, ooh, and the henna gets anywhere, they're gonna be like, who pooped? Who did like gross poops? But I'm relieved there's no staining, so yeah. Might have to go around and just make sure I'm completely cleaned up of any other henna residue. Alright, check back in a bit. Okay, so I am back. My hair's been dyed, it rinsed out. It still has kind of a nice, like, herbally scent. And here is what the roots in my gray patch we're looking at. It almost has like kind of a golden hue, and it's not like straight silver, but it's definitely more of a like tinted highlight than it is like completely covered. So actually, I kind of don't mind that. It does look nicely blended. Like, I was so worried it was gonna be so streaky. But overall, I think it just has like a nice refreshing look. It's kind of a little bit darker. I feel like I do still have some like grays at the temple. That might have just been an application issue. If I just, I don't know, missed it or didn't get enough on it. I don't really know. But I'm gonna check back in a full 24 hours to see if my hair has changed color anymore, because they do say it could take up to 24 hours to develop, so maybe it's gotten darker or something, I don't know. I feel like my hair just got a nice deep condition, and overall I think it turned out better than I expected. Pretty happy with it, and I'll follow up in 24 hours. Here we go. Okay guys, so it's not actually the next day, it's actually almost like 4 or 5 days later. We had a very traumatic week there with the world kind of like blowing up. Even here in Canada, you know, it's crazy times and fighting for justice. That's awesome. But that also means I was not up for doing videos or any of that sort of stuff. So I'm back now. And here's what my hair looks completely dry after hennaing it. So you can definitely still see where my gray patch is, but it still blends really nicely. It's a lot more subtle than it was before, and I think it just kind of looks like shiny and healthy. I definitely have noticed, and I didn't think this was gonna happen. I thought it was a lot of hype or people were just exaggerating, but like especially at the back of my neck where I tend to get a lot of like broken hairs and stuff, my hair feels so smooth and nice. Like, I think it did do something to my hair to like make it feel extra silky and nice. So I'm actually really loving the effect. You can definitely still see strands of silver, but overall I think it's a lot more cohesive, and I'm gonna say, for me, nicer looking than when I let it go full natural, just because everything looks like darker and richer and shinier. It feels really nice. I've definitely learned some things for when I henna my hair next time. For instance, I think when I mixed it up, it was way too dry. Like, when they said go light on the water, I think I took that a little too literally. I went a little bit too light. So next time I do it, I'm gonna add a lot more water, and I'm also gonna mix up a lot less. Like, that time I used 2 blocks and I pretty much applied it all over. So next time I do my gray patch, I'm probably gonna go over the whole gray patch area again, but I'm only gonna use maybe even just half of 1 block. Like, I don't need a lot at all. And then I'll probably do my gray patch and then just at my temples again, where I feel like it's a little bit gray looking. Now, I'm not gonna dock any points like I did with some of these semi-permanent hair dyes that I've like totally criticized in the past, because this Lush Henna bar didn't actually claim to cover up grays, especially on the brown color. Like, there was no mention of covering up grays. I wasn't sure exactly what I was gonna get, so I can't really dock it points there because it didn't actually say it was going to cover gray. So overall, very, very satisfied. If you're looking for a more natural solution and you're not ashamed of your gray hairs, but you just kind of want to like mask it a little bit, I think henna and this Lush bar is a really nice way to go. Pleasantly surprised. It was messier than I expected, but again, I think that's just because I mixed it up too dry. Maybe not next time, but a couple times in the future, I'll do an actual review of it and not just a trying of, once I've kind of figured out what I'm doing and how I like it and everything. Of course, the one downside is now, because I have henna in my hair, I don't think it plays very nicely with other dyes or anything, so it is kind of a long-term commitment. If you decide to henna your hair, like, you're pretty much committed to whatever chemical reaction like happened in your hair. But yeah, the other thing I've read, and I'm not sure, is that it loosens your curl pattern a little bit. So if you're worried about that, maybe do a little bit more research to see if that's true or not. There you go. That is my trying of the Lush Henna bar. I would repurchase it. I would try it again. I'm not quite committed to giving it a full rating yet because, I don't know, that was just the first time I tried it. I'm excited to play with it more. Thanks again for joining me. If you liked today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below for more beauty videos from me. I put out new beauty videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I also have a Discord server if you want to just chat and hang out with me, kind of see what I'm up to. I'll have the link down below, and also I'm streaming now on Twitch on Mondays if you just want to hang out and do some gaming with me. That's something I'm doing as well. Thanks to my patrons, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.